So glad you're with us on Right on the Money. Brad Johansen with Tom Mosley, Mosley Wealth Management. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing great.
Doing great is a good thing because there are a lot of people on the daily now, Tom, that are going, I'm not great, because these are people watching market. I want to talk market volatility right now because the way this year has started hasn't been like years that we've seen. You get a run and people get used to it, right? The market goes for a while. This is the way it's always going to be. And then we get a new president that walks into the White House and we think this is going to be exactly what I hoped it was going to be. And suddenly the market turns volatile like the market does. What has the year like this? How long has it been since a year started like this?
Well, probably, we don't remember it, but probably 3 years ago, it started somewhat like this in 2022.
But that slips out of our mind really quickly.
Let me give you the fingers. Are you ready?
Yeah,
right.
I'm ready for the fingers, Tom.
All right, let me give you the fingers. You go back to like 87, 88, the market was really in turmoil. Remember, was it Black Monday or whatever it was? It was all kind of turmoil. But then we had 89, 90, 91, 92, 93. Things were really going pretty well. Then we had 94. That was the Orange County bankruptcy, the first time a municipality had gone underneath, and we had a 24% downturn in the market overall. What was it followed by? 95, 96, 97, 98, 99. Those fingers were all up because of the dot-com boom. Then we had 2000,
Ooh.
2001,
Ooh.
2002, that was a 40% downturn. The first time your 401k became a 201k.
Yeah.
All right. And
yeah.
You were looking at half of the money in there, even though you were contributing to it. But what happened? We had 2003, 4, 5, 6, and 7. In other words, the fingers were 5 up again.
Everything's great again until
2008. We almost lost it because of the financial disaster. But what was it followed by? It was followed by 2009, 10, 11, 12, 13. Oh, wait a minute. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, sort of a flat year. 19, 20. Even with COVID, the market was up 20% during the year of COVID.
People do not realize that.
They don't. We were so used to a normal pattern, which there are no normal patterns, but we were so used to a normal pattern of volatility of 5 up. Okay, we got one down, 5 up, we got one down. But we went 13 years in a row until 2022 before we had a downturn. 22 was down 22%. Bonds and stock. I get happy and excited about the people who call up and they say, well, I'm in stock. Shouldn't I go to bonds? No, they stink too. You know what I mean?
22 was a nasty year. If you were trying to play it safe in 22, you were in trouble.
Yeah, there was no safety.
So we go into recency bias, and the recency is that everything was great because, man, we had a great run. One of our advisors around here loves to say a blind chicken could have made money in the stock market.
Easy button.
And it is an easy button. And so we assume, because we've always been told, put your money in the market, leave it there, and you're going to be good because nothing beats the market. The problem is we're now adjusting. For a lot of people who are watching this program, we're adjusting into what we've always done to now what we'd kind of like to do, because this is what I've always had to do. Now I want to do what I want to do. What should I take from recent market volatility as to where I should be going? Because fear creeps in, Tom, pretty quickly when the recency bias goes away.
No, and maybe rightfully so. And the key word is not the market. The key word is not volatility. The key word is time. How much time do you have until you need the money that you've got in the market? Here's what I mean. If the market is down 10, 12, 15, like it has been sometimes this year, you know, it's all over the place every single day. If the market is down and I'm taking money out, I'm having to take more money out to get the same amount of dollars. So if I'm retired, and many who watch this show are close to retirement, and you need to be right on the money in retirement more than any other time. If you're 25 years old, you should not be concerned about a downturn. You should be concerned about one thing. If you're 25 years old and the market's down 10%, you should say, how can I strategize to put more money in my 401k?
Buy low.
Buy low.
Sell high.
Yeah.
But it doesn't quite work that way when we're low and I got to take money out.
I'm a football coach from way back. I'm an old football coach. I'm old and I used to coach football. I'll say it that way, okay? And in football, when you get inside the 20-yard line, you get close.
Get in the red zone.
Get in the red zone, exactly. When you're in the red zone, they actually measure a team by how efficient they are in the red zone. How efficient are you going to be in the red zone? It's going to determine whether you've got a plan that's going to last you to and through retirement, that's going to give you the ability to sleep well at night, or is going to keep you awake at night. Because what happens to a football team? If you make major mistakes in the red zone, you're known as a team that craters, that can't win the big one, that can't put it in. And what's your efficiency in the red zone? What is your efficiency in retirement? Because I can't be 25 years old anymore. I can't be 35. I can't even be 45 or 55. I'm 65 and I can't afford that 50% downturn like 2000 to 2003. I can't afford the 50% downturn like around 2008. I've got to do something different than I've always done before. I can't afford to make a mistake down here.
You coached football. I used to call football, and this is one of those stats that you always go to in the red zone. You can't give the ball up, can't turn it over, can't make mistakes. You can't put yourself in a position where on first down you are now in a deficit where your playlist is shortened. You have to figure it out. If I can't make mistakes in the shortest period that I'm going into red zone, what are you telling me about market volatility and where I am?
I'm gonna try something here because I've got this idea that I think relates, and I'm flashing back to coaching football, okay? When you get in the red zone, you need to score, but you don't necessarily need to score a touchdown. Here's what I mean. How many championship football games are decided by 1, 2, or 3 points?
Nearly all of them.
Nearly all of them. Not the last Super Bowl.
No.
Yeah, okay.
But nearly all of them. Statistically, it's a one-score game.
We always used to say when I was coaching football that when we get down there, we've got to come away with something. And I think what happens so many times is people, we're creatures of habit, Brad. And when you're 25, leave it in the market. Okay, I learned. When you're 35 and you go through a downturn, leave it in the market. And I learned. I like to ask people, how much money did you lose in the housing downturn in 2008 when you sold your house? And they come back and they say, I didn't sell my house. I say, right. And so what's it worth now? Well, it's worth far more than it's ever been worth before. Why? Because you didn't sell down there, okay? You didn't sell. A lot of people get down to the red zone and they see things going poorly and they want to just give up and they want to sell. That's a big mistake. That's a big mistake. But what they're trying to do many times is they're still trying to score a touchdown every single time. Sometimes that 3-point field goal is going to be the difference in you winning the game overall and not. Because if you come away with a 0, here's the illustration. You don't necessarily, when you're in the red zone and you're close to retirement, need to score 7 when you're in the red zone. But when you're going through a downturn, you need to back down that volatility. You need to back down that risk that you're taking because you don't need 7 to win. You're ahead anyway. All you need is 3. All you need to do is put points on the board and keep moving the score forward. And you're probably going to win if you do that. If you score every time you go in the red zone, whether it's 3 or 7, you're probably going to win the football game.
So is that part of your blueprint is what we're talking about? Look, the times are changing. Volatility is there. Trying to understand what it all means is difficult because this is the first time you're trying to retire. Hopefully it's the only time you're trying to retire. Here's the thing. With a coach, there's perspective. Who's been there before, done a few trips into the red zone, understand how to figure out how to win a game. Because every game is different. Your plan is going to look different than anybody else's. And fear shouldn't need to drive you. It should drive you to somebody who's done it before. This is the time you make the call. 866-709-1462. Scan the QR code. Let's put a blueprint together. It doesn't always have to be 7. We can score 3. Let's just keep scoring. The blueprint works. Make the call. We'll be right back.
We know the market is going to get worse from here. This is the biggest monthly decline in 10 years. People's 401ks took a major hit.
Well, my investments are tanking. My retirement isn't going as planned. I can't believe I let my kid talk me into buying crypto. I mean, what is that anyway?
This was the 4th worst contraction in history.
So how are you two doing?
Your financial future doesn't have to be uncertain. I'm Tom Mosley with Mosley Wealth Management. If you have amassed a nest egg, it's time for a financial advisor to help you reach your retirement goals. This is one of the greatest tax windows in history. Now is the time to take advantage of this tax discount while you can. We specialize in retirement planning, tax mitigation, estate planning, and much more. Plan your retirement right. Call now for your portfolio review and tax analysis.
You are right on the money. Brad Johansen, Tom Mosley. We're kind of talking about volatility right now, and we left with some football stuff. Talking about retirement red zone, equating it to football red zone. If you talk about football right now, football's changed from the time that you were coaching as well, and there are a lot more riverboat gamblers on the field. A lot more going for it on 4th down on a regular basis, just kind of hoping that it's going to work. You talked about 7 and 3 in the red zone. I just want to score. Where'd you learn as a coach, and I know this equates into retirement, that it's okay to give up on 7 just so long as you get 3?
Well, I've got a tire mark where I got ran over by that, okay? In 1977 and 1978, we played 𝗬𝗏𝘳𝗄𝗻. We played Plano in the semifinals of state. We had a far better team, but we got there both times playing in Texas Stadium where the Cowboys play. We lost in 1977 3-0. And 3 times we were inside the 20-yard line and didn't score. Oh, if we could have just kicked 3 field goals. But
what was your mentality then?
Wasn't my mentality. I wasn't calling the plays. I wasn't making those decisions at the time. The next year, we lost 6-3, and twice we were inside the 20-yard line and didn't score. If we had just scored 3, here's what I'm trying to convey to you. I'm not just talking football, though I can do that all day long.
You and I both
And if you start talking 𝗬𝗏𝘳𝗄𝗻 mojo football, I can talk that for years, okay? But when you get to retirement and you've got that lump sum to one of its biggest stages, you don't need to keep going for it on 4th down. You don't need to keep all your money at risk. You can really pull back on your risk level in most cases, Brad, and still have a very much of a winning football game. But I have seen so many people make the mistake of leaving all their money in the market, and then they get hit by a 2-year downturn or a 1-year downturn. And because I've been in this business in 2000 to 2002. I've been in this business in 2008. I was in this business in 2022. And if you are just retiring, you need that little meager 3-point score, because that's what's going to put you over versus a loss and giving up points.
Well, I say that to start the segment that the riverboat gamblers are now moving in, but they said, well, we're not gambling anymore. We're using analytics that tell us percentages of when we should go and when we shouldn't. The analytics over this period of time, and it's more than a century, have said if you keep your money in the market, it's going to be okay. How do we have to change the analytics when we're moving from accumulation into distribution? And sometimes that smaller number, even though it is a gain, should make us feel okay just to get us to the next quarter?
No, it's such a profound question, and I go back to the segment of that question as you ask us. What do we do right now as we look at the analytics and it tells us we're going to be okay? That analytics, we've said in other shows, that analytics is the Monte Carlo model.
Yeah.
And that Monte Carlo model gives you a probability of success.
I'm gonna 91% chance I'm going to succeed.
91% chance you're going to succeed, 9% chance that you're not going to succeed. I am not saying the Monte Carlo model does not work. If you hit the right sequence, and in fact, in my retirement masterclass that we teach all over Southern California, we go into sequence risk and we show you that if you and I are friends, and we are, but if I retire in 1996 and I use the Monte Carlo model, by 2018, I have taken out 1.5 million and I've still got over 1.2 million left in my account if I have $1 million to start with. So you watch what I do, and 3 years later in 1999, you do the exact same thing, you're out of money in 2018. Because whereas when I retired in 1996 on this simulation, I've gained money for 5 years. I've gained up to $1.9 million in 5 years because I hit a boom. I hit the right sequence.
But I was watching your average.
You were watching my average, but you hit the wrong sequence because as soon as you came on, we had a 47.4% 3-year overall downturn. So after 4 years, I was up to 1.9 million using the Monte Carlo model. I'm not saying it doesn't work. But I am saying when Brad used it 3 years later, after 4 years, you were at $542,000. That's a huge difference, Brad. And that's what I mean about well, let me just ask you, do you want that much of a hope of a throw it to the wind? I hope I hit the market the right way. What's your outlook? I mean, I've been in this business for 30 years, and I'm going to make a confession this weekend on all this show. Every time this show shows all over Southern California this weekend, I don't know what the market's going to do on Monday because I don't know whether it's going to be up or down on Monday. I just know that whatever it does, you better have a plan that you're not going to run out of money in retirement.
Chances are I'm going to make it, because I've watched these programs for a long time. I've listened to guys who've done it before, at least at the water cooler. I have family members who've done this thing before. So all of the information that I've gathered, my analytics, tell me that I can probably do this myself. And it's embarrassing enough to walk into your office and say, okay, I know you've done this for 30 years, but have I done this right now? Can you actually help me? Because I hope that I've done it all the right way at this point. Well, you put together a blueprint for people, and you just said it. Yours isn't going to look like mine.
Right.
Why is it so important that somebody gets an individual blueprint that costs them nothing just to get an idea, I'm going to be okay, or, oh my gosh, I better change my game plan?
Right. Look at all the variables, Brad. Just think about it. In the simulation I just went through a few minutes ago, we both had $1 million and we both retired, okay? But if you and I are person number one, person number two, we have different amounts of money saved. And we probably have different amounts of money saved in after-tax accounts and in pre-tax accounts, in qualified accounts and non-qualified accounts. We probably have more capital gains in that non-qualified accounts, even if we have each of us has a non-qualified account. There's more capital gains to consider. Ooh, wow. And are we both married? Yes, but did my wife work? No, but did yours? Yes, probably. So you've got two big, healthy Social Securities, and I've only got one and a real small one. And does your wife have a pension? Well, maybe. Yes, she does. You see what I'm saying? You see all the difference? I have rental units and you don't. So when it comes to putting it all together, it's like if I make a cake and you make a cake, I don't know. What's your favorite cake?
I go vanilla.
Yeah, I'm red velvet. You understand what I'm saying? I've got a lot different ingredients going into my retirement cake than you've got going into your retirement cake. So when the market volatility comes, I could be rocked by market volatility. You could be relatively secure. You could have been Mr. Take it easy, put it in the CD, put it in something safe all your life, and you just steadily grew, and you're solid. And I could be, you know, I'm a riverboat gambler, you know, and I'm up and down and all over the place, you know, and I could have very little or not have very much.
The question is, how do you want to retire? Do you want your money to last? I mean, the question seems simple, right? And yet, have you put together a plan that's your plan and different than other people's plans? Don't go on hope. Go on a blueprint. 866-709-1462. Scan the QR code. Let's put one together for you. A second opinion costs you nothing and may mean everything. We'll be right back.
Better is just better, but it doesn't begin without a plan. Better, it's the American way, from a better house to a better career to a better life for our kids. Americans strive for better. But when it comes to your retirement, what does better mean to you? A better income? A better lifestyle? A better solution? A better retirement begins with a financial plan. To get your complimentary financial plan, call the number you see here. It's your retirement and an opportunity for better.
You are right on the money. Brad Johansen with Tom Mosley, and we're talking about the market volatility that has so many scared right now and trying to put together a blueprint that makes it work. You throw that term out, and it's not throwing the term out. It's because you do it with every single person that comes into the office. So if we're dealing with fear and trying to create hope that is on paper in a plan, let's take people through, and we don't have a whole lot of time, but I want to take people through what a blueprint plan looks like to guard against this. Everybody wants a guarantee, and it's very difficult to guarantee anything in life right now. The guarantee is that it's going to change, but a blueprint plan gives you an idea of when it changes. Here's how it's going to work. Tell people what happens when they come into the office and they put together this plan.
Okay. Let's talk about our process. We have trademarked our process, Ease into Retirement. First time you come in is an Envision appointment where we just sit down with you and we find out what your vision for retirement looks like. We then set up an Analyze appointment where we take everything you've got and we analyze your situation and we say, this is great. This is something we would improve on. This is something that you realize is a problem already and we need to address. Okay. Then you usually at that point decide that you want to work with us. And so you set us up a strategize where we move all of your money over to our accounts, not to Mosley Wealth Management accounts, but to accounts with large major wholesalers like Charles Schwab and Fidelity. We work on their wholesale side where we then can tell those people what we want to do in investing your money. And we set up a strategize appointment where we then put the strategy together. So do we leave you at that point? No, we are not like those that just take you in and leave you. We got your money, so let's go. All right. We set up every single 6 months or a year. We touch base with you every 3 months. We set up evaluates because we have to constantly evaluate to see if your plan is on track. Now, let's go into what we do in the Analyze and the Strategize to put together your plan. Your plan is going to address your lifetime income. What's your income now when you're still working? What will it be when you retire from natural sources like Social Security, pensions? Oh, I don't have one. Okay, no problem. Rentals, we don't have any. That's fine. What do you have in your lumberyard? What do you have that we can build a house out of? And the major foundation of your house is your income. We put that plank in there. And as we've said in other shows, we try to guarantee that as much as we can. If you don't want to guarantee it, you want to leave it at risk in the market, that's fine. Insure everything else, just don't insure your income, that's fine. But we try to make sure and address your income first. What do you have coming in? What's the gap? Oh, there's no gap. You don't need anything to add to it. If there is a gap, where's it coming from? Second thing is, inflation. Do we now know what inflation is again? Not back to the Jimmy Carter days where it was so high, but we now know what inflation can do to you. If you had enough money in 2019 and you're flat in your income in retirement, you're 25% short this year because inflation is up 25% in the last 5 years. So we calculate in inflation. How can we turn more faucets of income on through the years? Number 3, we look at your investments. What's your risk tolerance? That's you. I'm pointing to you on that. What's your portfolio's risk tolerance? A lot of times we find that broker's going to keep you as long as you're making money. So they've got you so risky. They've got you extended out so far. You know, if you lose money for them, they're going to leave me anyway, so I might as well put it as high as we can. That's some brokers' philosophy. But your risk tolerance has a number to it, and your portfolio should match up. That's called being able to sleep well at night, okay? And being able to go to sleep and enjoy your retirement. So we look at your investments. And then taxes. We've had whole, complete other shows on how we try to lower your taxes to as low as you're legally required to pay. So income, inflation, investments, taxes, we're done. No, you're not done. How are we going to take care of your health care? Some of the big box firms pride themselves on their commercials and say, we don't sell commissionable products. We do. When it comes to investments, we're fiduciaries. We sell commissionable products because one of the biggest things that can take money out of your pocket in retirement is your health care costs. So if you got a Medicare plan, if you've got a long-term care plan, if you've got a nursing home plan, those are all commissionable products, and you need to have somebody you already trust to go to get those products. So we look at your health care, and then the one above is legacy. When you're up in the clouds, who are you going to leave it to? We look at that as well. We don't write wills and trusts, but we have people who do. We want to help you get what you need to leave it to the right people. That's a plan. Income, inflation, investments, taxes, healthcare, and legacy.
Sound like a blueprint that you can work with? It's better than just hoping. Make the call, 866-709-1462. Scan the QR code. Let Tom lay it out for you with the perspective of 30 years that can make your money last in retirement. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you in the office. See you right here next time.